Here we have a SAT math question. Okay, let's go with the information. P of x equals to 3x square negative 5 times x positive k negative 20. In the polynomial P of x defined above, k is a constant. If x is a factor of P of x, what is the value of k? Okay, so to solve this problem, let's consider the factor theorem in algebra. So let me consider a linear expression, that is x negative a. And I want to check whether this linear expression x negative a is a factor of the polynomial P of x. So how can I check whether this linear expression is a factor of the polynomial P of x? So for that, in my first step, what I have to do is I have to equate this linear expression to 0 and solve for x. So if I solve for x, I'm getting x equals to a. So now what I have to do is I have to plug in the value, that is a, for x over here into the polynomial function. When I do so, I must be getting the result 0. So when I plug in the value of x, that is a, for x over here into the polynomial function, if I get the result 0, then I can decide x negative a, the linear expression over here, is a factor of this polynomial P of x. Okay, so based on this stuff, we can actually, this is the factor theorem, the stuff what we have discussed so far. Okay, now we can use this factor theorem to solve the problem what we have over here. Okay, when I go over this question, the question clearly says x is a factor of P of x. Actually, we don't have to verify this. Already the question says x is a factor of P of x, and we have to find the value of the constant k. So let me write the stuff over here. X is a factor of P of x. Okay, so x is a factor of P of x. Now what I have to do is I have to equate this factor to 0 and solve for x. Even if I equate this one to 0 and solve for x, I'm still getting x equals to 0. Okay, so since x is a factor of P of x, when I plug in this value 0 for x over here, then P of 0 must be equal to 0. Here we don't have to verify, because we are not verifying whether x is a factor of P of x, because the question itself clearly says x is a factor of P of x. So when I plug in this value 0 for x into the given polynomial function, it must be equal to 0, because already we know that x is a factor of P of x. We know the stuff for P of x, that is 3x square negative 5 times x positive k negative 20. So if I want to get the stuff P of 0, I have to replace, I have to plug in 0 for the x over here. Then I'm getting, so 3 times, when I plug in 0 for this x, 0 square is still 0, that is 3 times 0. And 3 times 0 is actually 0, negative 5. Times, when I plug in 0 for this x over here, I'm getting 0 positive k negative 20 equals to 0. So 0 negative 5 is just negative 5, and 0 positive k is just k, negative 5k negative 20 equals to 0. Okay, now let's solve for k in this equation. For that, I add 20 to both sides. When I do so, this negative 20 positive 20 will cancel out. I'm getting negative 5k equals to positive 20. Let me divide both sides by negative 5. When I do so, this negative 5 will cancel out. 5 goes into 5 one times, 5 goes into 20 4 times, k equals to, here we have one negative sign and here we have 4, so the value of k is negative 4. We find negative 4 in option B, so the correct answer choice for this question is option B.